What's up, everybody? Brock Gillespie here. We're here at a place called the Fringe Mini Putt. Big tournament, July 13th, with the Putters League. I don't know if you know Brian Anchors. Great guy. Him and his girlfriend run the Putters League. Mainly tournaments in the Atlanta area, but they branch out a little bit. They got a tournament that they're doing July 13th at this venue, and I'm just fresh to it. Gonna do a little recap video. Hopefully you learned something, and we hope to see you out there. It's a great tournament. It's a great field, great bunch of people. They got an amateur flight that's $35 if you want to save yourself some money and play in the lower flight. They also have some pro divisions that are a little more expensive. And they are infusing some money into the prize pool, I guess, for the pro division, the upper end pro division. So yeah, here's sort of a hole by hole breakdown of what I figured out here. It's probably not, the greatest assessment on this course because it's only my second time out here, but at least it'll give you an idea of what to expect, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks. So this is the Chattahoochee course here at the Fringe. This is hole number 1. A really tricky hole. I went through a lot of different options on this hole. You'll see some of my shots here. You got this little hill on the left-hand side, and you got this rock. And I think most people will be going off the rock, but I first started trying just to go right at the hole. I made one like this once, but it was very rare, and the ball has a tough time getting back to the hole. So I was going far left-hand side. Remember, with this course, you're allowed to putt on the turf with 3 bricks from the back. But you can see how this ball just never really moves to the right. So then I started playing it off the hill over here, and I did make one like this. It caught just a little part of the hill. I was starting up on the left-hand side and just kind of shooting it down the course line, and very close to that line right there. A little bit more strength, it was going in, but I found it to be incredibly difficult to find the right speed. It was just very, very challenging. And so I graduated to what I think most of the field is going to do, which this was taken later at night, which is to go off this stone. And I first started from the middle. I realized that you have to hit the far left-hand side of the stone. So on this one, I put a little cut spin on it. Started off over on the right-hand side. It's hard to tell there, but I put a little cut spin on it, and then it hit that corner and went right in. And I think that's the most desired line there. Here's hole 2, pretty straightforward putt. It's hard to see right here, but this is an uphill putt. And at the very end, it kind of goes back downhill a little bit. I was starting up just, maybe a 2 to 3 inches right of center, and then it breaks a little bit to the right, and hopefully goes in. I noticed as well that sometimes the putt would break that putt broke to the left. I noticed that it would break to the left, and then sometimes at the very end it would go back to the right. You can kind of see it there a little bit, so watch out for that. Here's hole 3. Found this to be one of the easier holes on the course. That little rock behind the hole can really help you out. And so I was starting, 2 to 3 inches right of center, and a lot of times the reason I'm starting 2 to 3 inches right of center is so that I can get a stance. And then I was aiming like left edge, and then hopefully it just kind of drifts a little bit back to the right. If you leave it open and it goes to the right a little bit, which you'll see right here, that little rock back there, I put it a little too far right, but if you just miss the hole to the right, it hits that rock and goes right in. Here's hole 4, very difficult hole. Do not mess with this hole in my opinion. I'm not even trying to make this putt. I'm trying to leave it short, leave myself a little, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot putt. You go long down off the shelf, it's incredibly tough to make the putt coming back. So I was starting up on the far right-hand side, aiming sort of at the corner of that right rock. It was drifting to the left, kind of drifting back towards the center of the rock. And then I was just trying to leave it short. I was trying to be closer to the hole than that, though. You can watch these putts here. This one dives to the left, which is a little tough to see, but then watch this putt. You can see at the very end it goes right. So that putt's on some sort of a ridge, and unless you're within 1.5 feet, 2 feet, you got a tough putt. Here's hole 5, another difficult hole. You got this rock over here on the right-hand side that you're bouncing it off of, and in my opinion, you're hoping to hit the brick wall on the far right-hand side. If you don't, you end up hitting that rock and then missing that putt over there. Was starting up on the far right hand side, maybe aiming for like just the left part of the rock. It was drifting back a little bit to the right. And this was perfect right here. If you hit it soft, you have a better chance to leave it close. But if you hit it too soft, it can get stuck. So it's a tough hole. You can see one here that hits the first part of that rock and bounces off. It seemed like speed was everything with this putt. The softer you hit it, the more chance it had of hitting that far right brick wall. You can see this one. I actually thought this one had stopped. I was about to pick it up, and then I saw it moving again. And then that putt over there, back there, is a left to right putt. Definitely practice that one. Here's hole 6. This is our first of 2 volcano holes. This volcano isn't that severe. If you're right behind the hole, it's actually very easy to 2-putt. I was starting up on the far right-hand side, maybe aiming like left edge of the hole, and it was breaking back a little bit to the right. The good thing about these volcano holes, if you miss it to the left or right and you have the right speed, it'll swirl around and go in. You can see this one somehow stops right at the top of the volcano. Not actually sure how that is possible, but it happened. Here's hole 7, another challenging hole. You got these 2 banks that you're trying to orchestrate to get to the hole. I found this to be a very inconsistent hole. The first bank, the concrete, it bounces different ways. I was trying to put a little hook spin on it so that it would hit the bank and kind of bounce a little bit less of an open bounce, more of an acute bounce. I think I'm saying that right. But yeah, this is a pretty good one right here. Hit the 2 banks and leave it close. Here's hole 8. This is a hole that you feel like you should make every time, but I actually didn't have that good of luck at it. I was putting it about lined up with the right hand side of the black mat, and I was aiming left edge. I did mess up quite a few times and hit those wood beams there. Here's hole 9. Pretty straightforward putt. Very deceiving though. You have to really hit this putt hard. I was shocked on how hard I had to hit it. It's got that little uphill thing in the middle, and it's very easy to leave this one short. And you can see me do that right here. Leaving it short obviously is a nightmare. So I was aimed up about maybe 2 to 3 inches right of center, and then aiming sort of left edge. It did seem to break a little bit left to right. And you can see this one, I pushed it a little right, but I did hit the right speed, or close to the right speed on that one. Here's hole 10. This is one that I am not going to take on. The first part of the putt, it looks flat, but it's actually kind of crowned. And then if you get over to the right, it can really be a nightmare for making the putt. So I've just been aiming up a little bit right, aiming maybe left edge of the hole or outside left edge of the hole, and just really hitting it hard and trying to bounce it off those back bricks. Maybe you get lucky and it goes in, but leave yourself with an easy 2-putt on that one. Don't try to even make it. It's too tough. Here's hole 11. Sort of a similar situation. You got this plateau and then you got this downhill, and maybe some of the better putters like Hester will try to just creep it over that hill and roll it in front side, but I feel like the back door is the play here. I was aimed a little bit right of center. I was aiming left edge and just kind of hitting it hard and hoping to hit that little area back there and hoping for it to bounce in. Here's hole 12. Spent a lot of time on this hole and I was getting a lot of untrue rolls. You obviously want to tee up more towards the right-hand side because it kind of gives you a little bit of a better angle. But if you go too far right, it breaks right to left, and then not far enough, it breaks left to right. So I decided about 2.5 putter heads from the right brick, and I was aiming right edge. This is a pretty good line right here. I just hit it too hard, but that putt was breaking back right to left for me in. Here's hole 13. This is a very fun hole. It meanders around. It's hard to see the downhill here, but it's quite a bit downhill. I spent a lot of time on this hole trying to figure it out. I think I got a pretty good path. I was aimed, a few inches right of center. I was aimed about 4 inches left of that green trash can right there, and then just hitting it very soft. And at the very end, it should come back to the right. You can see how I'm just tapping this putt. You got these 2 little hills on the left and the right that help bring the ball back in. And you can see that putt there. If it was a little bit softer, it probably drifts in. Here's hole 14. This should be the easiest putt out here. According to the rules of the tournament, all you got to do is make it in that bin right there and you get an ace. But it's funny how slow the putt is. And sometimes when something's so easy, you tend to kind of mess it up because you take it for granted. You got to hit this putt hard. If you hit it soft at all, it dies. And you can watch this here. You think, oh yeah, it looks good. And it just dies and goes all the way back. If you miss this, you get stuck down here behind this rock and you're not feeling good about that. You can see this one. I barely hit it hard enough, hit that left railing and it went in. Here's hole 15. A challenging hole. I don't see any reason to go left. You go through that tunnel. There's a little uphill and downhill in that tunnel, so you kind of have to hit harder. I was aiming maybe 2-3 inches left of center, and I was just playing it straight with the path of the course. Hit these a little bit too hard, but this one right here, if I hit at the right speed, it probably goes in. Here's 16. Here's another volcano hole. I found this hole to be a little bit challenging. You think that it's a slam dunk and you can really blow up here. As with any volcano situation, you know, you got to get perfect speed. I was aimed 2 to 3 inches. This putt's a right to left putt, so I was aiming right edge. It goes a little bit right to left. And you can see this putt, if you miss it short, it's just death. Do not miss this putt short, because usually the speed's going to take it all the way back down. You know, obviously you hope for something like that. A little bit of a right to left putt there. Here's hole 17. This is another one that I'm not taking on. It breaks right to left at the beginning. And if you try to take the hole on, you run the risk of rolling left and leaving yourself a really tough 2-putt. So I was just aiming maybe a foot right, let it drift a little bit back right to left, trying to go off that back wall and just sitting it up there just like that and just taking my 2 on this one. If you were to try to make it, you'd probably aim about maybe 4 or 5 inches right of the hole. But like I said, I don't think it's worth it. Here's the modified hole 18. I hate these kind of holes. They're just always going to mess with you, and they're just challenging. But you know, the course is what it is, and it'll make you sweat. It's about a left edge putt, and you just got to find the right speed and just leave it short if you can. You don't even try to make it.